Hey, this is my main account's Bone Dragon build you are seeing right now. I will walk you through this today, explain my skill tree, my units and other stuff like that, and also give some variations if you are trying to beat the Bone Dragon for the first time. I am running a full lightning setup in here. My account is almost at 9 million waves in the game, so at this point you can either run full lightning still, or you can run a variation of like lightning poison usually, where you can have Succubus in your build as a damage dealer, for example, and maybe even Sarah. But you can also just stick to full lightning as well. And if you do that, then this is what your build most likely will look like. There might be some minor variations depending if you're trying to get the first skills in or if you're trying to get a farming build in. But this is how it works, and the battle results for this build look like this. My main boss killer or dragon killer is the Dark Lightning Archer, and also Zeus and Thor are doing their own share to help against the dragon. So they are doing all the work, and the other units are there just to boost them. Let's start going through the units in this build. And first of all, if you don't have 13 hero slot, you can just drop Dark Skeleton from this build. He can be used to give your heroes a little bit critical chance. I will show that once we go through the skill tree. But if you don't have 13 hero slot, you can just skip Dark Skeleton from this build. Then about the damage. So Thor, Dark Lightning Archer and Zeus are doing all the damage against the dragon, so make sure to set them all to target the boss monster for this build. And once you start battling the dragon, make sure that you cast Dark Necromancer whenever you cast Dark Lightning Archer, and preferably Zeus as well. So try to make your cycle to go through like Dark Lightning Archer, Dark Necromancer, Zeus, and then Bishop also if you have Bishop in your build. And then you can cast Pure Wizard, and then you can again cast all of these again to maximize your damage output against the Bone Dragon. Also, of course, keep on using Chrono whenever he is off cooldown, so that you can get more game speed, which makes your dragon skills faster. So Bishop is in here because of his Bless will give attack speed for your heroes when you cast him, and also because he will give attack for units on the field. And this buff will boost your Thor a little bit. So Thor is considered as a unit on the field. And Thor is not the main damage dealer against Bone Dragon, but it helps a little bit, and it helps you in general, so it makes sense to have Bishop in this build as a support hero as well. The 3 witches in here are because of damage boost from the skill tree. I will also show that in a moment when we go through the skill tree, and also because you can have more item slots that you can equip your heroes with, either hero damage skill level or damage skill level +1 lines. If you can get these E items with the other lines, don't matter for any of the witches, just if the item has damage skill level or hero damage skill level +1, you can just throw them on these units. And also you can also equip the rune if you want to, damage skill level and hero damage skill level runes as well. So this is the reason why the witches are here. You don't need to cast the witches actually, and you even shouldn't cast the witches. They just sit in here and boost you passively. And the last 2 units in this build are Dark Elf for healing. I have +1 arrow items for her with the CDE line, so I can get a couple of CDEs in the build. I wouldn't really need the healing at this point myself, but especially when you're trying to get those first heals and trying to get to the Bone Dragon farming level, you will want to have that healing so that you can survive long enough to actually kill the Bone Dragon. And then I have Blue Defender in here, again to boost your defense so that you can last longer against the dragon, and also because you can just use damage or hero damage skill level +1 items again on Blue Defender as well. None of the other lines will matter, just get damage skill level and hero damage skill level +1 lines for Blue Defender. And because you are wondering why Edward is in here, he's level 10,000, he will do absolutely 0 damage against the Bone Dragon itself. He has hero damage skill level +1 items, so again none of the other lines matter. You can have damage reduction lines to make sure he survives possibly the dragon attacks, but otherwise only the hero damage and damage skill level +1 lines matter for Edward. He has also the passive ability that gives your units on the field 10% attack. So again, like the Bishop buff, this will give your Thor a little bit more damage, so it will help your Thor to deal a little bit more damage. So that's a minor boost also for Thor, but also because you can just get 2 more E items in your build. And before I forget, here are the items on my damage dealers for this build. So these are the Zeus items. They are the same that I use in my waving build as well. Here's Dark Lightning Archer, and these ones are different than what I use in my waving build. These ones have boss damage. In my waving build I don't have that, I have CDE. But you can also use the same items as what you use in your waving build as well. No worries in there. And these are also the same that I use in my waving build for Thor as well. So those are the damage dealer items on this build. Dark Assassin has just super items. He's also set to boss so that you can maximize this critical damage debuff against the Bone Dragon. So you want this debuff to be taken by Dark Lightning Archer or Zeus or Thor if possible, but one of those units should be able to claim this as often as possible. So you just want to boost. If you want to give some items for your Dark Lightning Archer, you can give again damage or hero damage skill level lines, and also attack speed lines will work great against the Bone Dragon or any dragon in general, because that means he can apply his debuff more often. Also, I have the Lightning Orb in here on my Dark Assassin to apply the debuff a little bit more often. And now then, if you are trying to get those first kills against the Bone Dragon, you most likely want to have more healing and more defense for your build. So in that case, you can again drop Dark Skeleton and you can put in Smith or Stoss, whichever promotion works better for you for healing. And also you can drop Lisa from the build and you can put in the Druid. And Druid doesn't need to be leveled at all. You can, if he's not even leveled 10,000 yet, just leave him whatever he is. You don't need to level him for this build. The only reason you want him is to have these +1 summoned unit lines for both items. If you don't have E items, that's fine, just pick L items with +1 summoned unit so that you can have 3 ends on the battlefield, so that you can have 15% castle defense. This will help you a little bit surviving against the dragon normal attacks, so that should help you getting your first kills in. So that's the changes you can do if you want to get those first kills and try to survive a little bit better. For the altar, you can use either the Altar of Death, like I use in here, or if you are already able to kill the Bone Dragon, you can try if the Altar of Sword is faster for you. Time for yourself which one is faster. Personally, on this account, the kill time for me is equal basically on either of the altars, so I picked the Altar of Death because that's more convenient for me to use. And if you're trying to get your first kills in, I would recommend the Altar of Death. The building section, we have the Hero Guild. Of course, you can use Uniguild as well if you have that one purchased. Same thing, our Town Archers are not doing any damage in here, so Hero Guild or Uniguild will do the same thing. Spring Water to reduce the cooldowns, and then we have the Force in here to give us a little bit castle HP. There's not really other great options that we would need or want in here, so might just as well take that increased HP so that you can survive a couple of extra normal attacks from the dragon. And now again, you are wondering why on earth is there so many empty slots in this build? There are empty castle paths and there are empty towers. The reason for that is because none of the castle paths or towers will do any meaningful damage against the Bone Dragon. It won't make you, even if you have them, the kill time won't be any faster. And it might actually be even slower than without having them. And the reason for that is because, like I said before, you will want your main damage dealers to use this critical damage debuff as often as possible. So Dark Lightning Archer or Zeus or Thor. And if you have some low damage, low attack towers or castle paths in, there's chances that they will actually claim that critical debuff and deal extremely low damage, and that will just result your damage dealers having less of those buffs, and they will have less DPS against the dragon. So it makes sense to just leave them out, and you will have this in your farming build, you will have better kill time without them. I have Worm in here to apply poison for the dragon, and also because the Worm is over level 10,000, I can use orbs on my Worm, so I have this Cursed Orb on Worm to apply this defense debuff against the Bone Dragon as well. So you can have Worm in here, but otherwise I would recommend leaving the other slots empty. Shield Castle in here can be used to boost your castle defense, of course, and the Lightning Base to boost your lightning units damage. My skills for this build look like this, so I have some cooldown skill level +1 lines, and then I have damage skill level +1 lines and hero damage skill level +1 lines. Now stacking these in your build will result in you getting more damage for your main damage dealers, that will result in faster dragon kills. And for treasures I'm using this, so this would be your full DPS setup for the Bone Dragon. If you're trying to get your first kills in, trying to survive, or if you don't have items for Edward, anyways, hero damage or damage skill level lines, you can use Unicorn Shield instead of Black Pearl over here and claim a little bit more defense against the Bone Dragon. And then finally, the skill tree. I will now first scroll through this and then I will go through it in more detail with you guys. So there we go, that's my current skill tree against the Bone Dragon. So what you want to do is you start from the lightning tree and you get the full lightning tree. You can skip these 2 flying nodes over here, and you can skip these 4 nodes over here to get more points to be used elsewhere. I have a lot of points on this account, so I don't even need to use all the points for Bone Dragon build, but get the full lightning tree. Then you go up and claim the physical tree, get the bone nodes as well. And the physical tree is here because you will want to get more healing for your Dark Elf so that you can survive. And also so you can get the strafe nodes for your Dark Lightning Archer, which will be your main DPS in full lightning setup against the Bone Dragon. You can skip these 2 nodes over here. You can skip this 1 MP node over here. Again, I have a little bit extra points that I need, so I've just picked those for that reason. And once you are done with those trees, you can go down to the summon tree. And when you go to the summon tree, pick the sword node and pick this node, which will give you 5% increased damage per witch. So this node is the reason why the 3 witches are sitting in the build. So each of them will give you 5% increased damage that will boost your main damage dealer's damage. And that's basically all you want from the summon tree. You can skip these 4 nodes as well. They won't be doing anything except maybe helping Edward stay alive a little bit longer. But it's better to use those points elsewhere before you have extra like I do in here. So after this, you can actually go through this section over here and skip to the poison tree instead, because you have no poison or summon units that are doing any actual damage against the Bone Dragon. You don't have to mind again from these less damage nodes over here that you normally don't want to take in your waving build, for example. Just make sure you don't skip from the lightning tree, so you don't take less lightning damage or less physical damage, because that will make your Dark Elf to heal less with these nodes over here. So just don't do these and you will be fine to even skip to the different trees like this, like I have done in here. So in here from the poison tree, you will want to get the sword node again. In every single tree you will want the sword node, that this will boost your damage a lot. And then you can just pick this poison 1% reduction node over here and you are done with the poison tree basically. After that you can start going up again from the poison tree and get the ice tree. And again in here you will want to have the sword node. And if you are having Dark Skeleton, you can have this skill node over here. Now this is the reason why I have Dark Skeleton in my build. This increases your hero's critical chance whenever you cast the Dark Skeleton ability. Now you probably saw I did not cast that in my battles because I'm a little bit lazy. I don't even want to waste clicks to do that at my level, but if you are trying to make your kills faster and you don't have as high level heroes as I have, that probably will help you a little bit to get the faster killed. But if you don't have enough points to reach these nodes, you can save these 6 points to be used elsewhere and just stop when you have this sword node from the ice tree. If you have items for your town cannons, so if you have town archer runes and you can equip cooldown skill level +1 items for your town cannons, then you can also pick this upper section over here. Otherwise you won't be needing this and you can use the points elsewhere. And finally from the fire tree, again the only thing you really want in here is the sword node again. So if you have that one, then you are basically done with the full lightning Bone Dragon build, and after that you just can use your points whenever you want. Like I have a couple of extra. This leech node over here, for example, are extra points that you can skip until you have enough to spare some points for this. Just make sure your Thor stays alive during the battle. If he keeps on dying, you can pick the first one over here to help him heal himself a little bit more. So once again, this is how I play this build. Have you been able to get any good drops from the dragons lately? Whether it's the Bone Dragon, Legend Dragon, or Sin, or whatever is the highest dragon you can kill. Have you been able to get any juicy items lately? I would love to know, so leave me a comment down below. What is the best item you have been able to get during the past, let's say, 2 weeks, for example? I'm looking forward to hear that. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.